Hello, and welcome to today's video. This is going to be my Q2 statistics. I've got so many bar charts, so many graphs, so many pie charts ready to go through, statistics ready to talk about, and I'm excited about it. In case you didn't see my last video, which was the mid-year freakout tag, I am filming on a weird camera right now. Fingers crossed I'll have this sorted by next video. But this fisheye look lens is here for this video and I can't see myself. So I just keep my fingers crossed that I'm in frame, that actually, to be fair, I don't think I'm holding anything today. All of it is going to be things that I insert on the screen, so that won't be a problem. But yeah, hopefully it looks okay. If not, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll have it sorted by the next video. But I'm trying my best. We'll just wait and see. There's a learning curve, so yeah, we'll get there though. We will get there. So yeah, that is what this video is. We are doing Q2 statistics, and I'm just ready to go through them. So I think that's what we should do. Okay, I've moved over. Hopefully there is enough room to insert the pie charts over here. But actually, let's just get into it. So Q2, I read 51 books in total, which I'm really happy with, to be honest. Like, I wasn't expecting to read that much. I've had a really decent reading quarter and the months have all been fairly decent. If you split up the 51 books between the months, so April, May and June, you can see it's fairly equal. Like, May was the worst month, June was the best month, but there's not much in them. There's only 4 within any of the months, so very happy with how this looks. And it actually looks quite different if we look at total pages. So 51 books equates to 17,212 pages. But if we split this up to month, June I read so many more pages than the other 2 months, even though it was only like 2 more books in April and 4 more books than May. So yeah, June was a lot more page count. Honestly, I'm not sure why this is. So that's just how it's looking. I definitely was finishing out a few chunky series, but I don't know, June page count is a lot. And then I guess the only other one that we've got this sort of bar chart for is my average rating. So my average rating for the entire of Q2 was a 3.578, which I'm fairly happy with. I think that's pretty decent. Obviously, I'd like it to be higher. If I could get my average rating to actually be like between a 3.8 and a 4, I would much prefer that. But I'm still learning my reading taste in a lot of genres. It's only really fantasy that I'm 100% confident in. So anytime I read another genre, it is a bit more of a risk. And if I split this up into looking at months, you'll see that April and May are almost the same. And then June, where I read a bit more and a lot more pages, was actually a lower average rating. So yeah, pretty interesting. And then I guess because I've done the bar charts first, I will quickly throw my star ratings up. I don't have much to say about this. I'm glad that there's more high than there is low. I'm glad that we've got no 0.51 or 1.5 stars. Like, that does make me happy. Overall, I would prefer more 5 stars and less of everything else, but we'll wait and see. I'm fairly happy with it. It feels like a fairly decent reading month. I am curious what would have happened if, like, the books that I ended up rating 2 stars and 2.5 stars, if I just hadn't ended up finishing those, if I had DNF them rather than finishing them, would I feel better about the quarter? I don't know, but it's definitely an interesting thought and something I'm maybe playing around with, maybe having a month where anything that doesn't feel like 3 stars or higher just gets DNF'd, and seeing if that helps me feel positive about my reading. Like, I already feel pretty good about it, but like, I feel like I could feel better. So that's something I'm playing around with, seeing if it might be worth doing at some point. Okay, and then let's move on to the reading method. So, kind of surprisingly, the majority of the books that I read in Q2 were ebooks. This is not something that I expected. However, there's a book that I needed to read at one point, and I think it gave me Kindle Unlimited for, I think it might have been like 99p for the month or something. And I really took advantage of that. I took advantage of it and then like got it cancelled, so I knew that I had to read them all if I wanted to actually have access to them. So I think that's why ebook is so high. I think if it wasn't for subscribing to Kindle Unlimited for that month, it would probably only be like 3 or 4, but it's actually 17. And then pretty equal are audiobook and physical book with 14 and 12. And then surprisingly, the smallest section is the mixed media. I honestly, in my mind, think I read mostly via mixture, but obviously that's not true, so I am very intrigued by this. To be fair, I am using audiobooks less because I've cancelled a lot of my subscriptions basically. Like, that's the basics of it. I've cancelled a lot of subscriptions, so I only really have access to 3 or 4 audiobooks a month now, rather than used to paying for way too many subscriptions and having access to a lot more. But yeah, that's how it's looking. I feel alright about it. And then there are a couple of rereads. So there were 2 rereads in the entire Q2, and this is what that graph looks like, showing the first time versus the reread. Don't have much to say. I enjoy rereading. I actually would like to reread more, but very specifically. My favourite series of all time, I've actually been halfway through rereading book 1 for many months now, and I would like to continue that. Like, I really thought that this year I would reread the entire series, but I'm doing like a deep annotation of it, like literally like every page has got like multiple annotations, multiple things, and just like really theorizing about everything but pointing absolutely everything out. Like it's really just like, I don't know, like I'm not doing it very often because it takes a lot of time and a lot of space. Like I need a table or a desk to do it, so it's not really leading to like comfort reading. I can't like curl up in bed or curl up on the sofa and do it, but I'm just having so much fun with it because it is my favourite series of all time, and I have read it like a few times now. Going through it and properly annotating it and seeing it and just like loving it even more because of how much I'm picking up on, because of how much I'm concentrating on. Like, oh, it's just been the best. So yeah, maybe potentially a few more rereads in the next quarter if I do get on with doing some of that. In terms of series versus standalone, there was only actually 7 standalones that I read for the entire of Q2. Everything else was part of a series. And you'd actually see in this graph, I have started splitting it up. So actually 30 of those books, that big light purple section, is all continuing series. And starting series and finishing series is pretty on par, so I'm not really reducing the amount of series on my TBR, but I'm getting through them, and I'm going to try my best to change this to make sure that I'm finishing more than I'm starting. Then there is the book format. I don't have too much to say about this. Like, obviously I read from a variety. I'm quite happy about that. It was mainly novels, followed by 10 graphic novels, 2 novellas, and then 1 non-fiction, 1 essay, 1 play, and 1 manga. What I will say is I really let the non-fiction drop off this quarter. Like, Q1 was so good for non-fiction, and Q2 I did not keep it up, and that is something I will be changing in Q3. I'm not, in fact, I'd say that's the main thing I'm not happy with about my reading from Q2, is how much I let my non-fiction drop and how little non-fiction I read. So definitely want to be changing that. Honestly, the only other thing is like finishing books that I wasn't enjoying, but like I was in a bit of a slump, bit of a dump, and I read some crap books. It's not the end of the world, but that is the other thing I am disappointed in about my reading. But the non-fiction I can definitely change, and I'll try my best not to read crap books. But you know, sometimes you just want a crap time, don't you? Sometimes it's bad, but like in a good way. And then we have genre. Again, a large variety of genres. I'm really quite happy with how the genres look. I am, again, surprised that it's majority romance. Did not expect that. Followed by sci-fi, which again, didn't expect that. If I was like guessing my reading preference, I would say mainly fantasy, bit of fantasy romance, and then a little bit of sci-fi and a little bit of romance. Like, it would be like fantasy being the biggest chunk, fantasy romance following it, and then romance and sci-fi following that. So yeah, this looks different, but I've had a really good time. I know what the majority of those sci-fi are. They're all the graphic novels that I read. Well, actually only 9 of the graphic novels, I think. Don't know what the other one would have been. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I read 9 of the saga graphic novels in the second quarter of the year, so I really should not be surprised it's so big. And honestly, I really loved them. Like, they were a fantastic time. And maybe I do need to branch out a bit more in sci-fi, because I think I do find it more intimidating than fantasy, just because it is more of a difference in world. Like, I feel like with fantasy I've read my entire life. Like, I can understand the world pretty quickly, no matter like what type of fantasy it is. But with sci-fi there can be a bit more of a learning curve. So yeah, but I definitely, do you know what, like, I rarely read a sci-fi and don't enjoy it, to be fair. Like, if I'm looking at the sci-fi on my shelves, all of them I've absolutely loved. So maybe it's good to be picky, maybe I should be branching out more. I don't know. But yeah, other genres on there are mystery, non-fiction, classics, paranormal. I've been reading a lot of the Changeling series by Nalini Singh, and that is definitely like just classic paranormal. Like, I guess it could class as fantasy. Like, paranormal to me feels like a sub genre of fantasy. I don't know if that's true, but that's what it feels like. So I guess that could class as fantasy. We should make fantasy equal to sci-fi if I was classing paranormal within it. But really not important. I enjoy looking at them and looking at the full spread. And then horror and dystopia as well. Okay, then a little bit of a look at book length. It's quite a variety. Surprising amount of books in the 350 to 400 page range. Just surprising because it is so much more than the rest. This really is not something that I pay attention to at all. Like, I don't ever pick up a book looking at the book length or anything like that, unless it's like part of the TBR game and it came up as a prompt to like pick a book a certain length or something. Except for that, like, I really don't look at it. So this statistic I'm never going to try and change. I'm never going to edit in any way. I just think it's interesting to look at. So yeah, that's that. Then in terms of age category, we've got majority adult, quite a portion, like over a quarter new adult, and then less than a quarter young adult. And honestly, the amount of young adult is quite surprising to me. I haven't been reading as much young adult lately, but I am also trying to get through the books that I already own and are on my TBR shelves. So it's one of those where it's like, it might not be my favourite genre lately, but I do still own a lot of it that I purchased many years ago and haven't got to. So yeah, I'm surprised by the amount I've read, but I also think it's a really good thing that I've read them. And I've also, if I can remember what I've read, I also think I've really enjoyed what I have read, except for maybe one. So overall, like, not bad. Then how I got the book, again, quite a spread, mainly either owned or owned 2025. I do like to split them up just because I am trying to read the books that I purchase in a year, in that year. I'm trying to really make sure that I'm buying books because I'm going to read them soon. So this is split up, but that first green section and the first big red section, those together are owned books. The red one is just, I've owned them since 2025, so they've only just come in to my life. And then the other big section here is Kindle Unlimited, which I don't like. I don't like this is the section so big. It's not something that I want to keep doing, but do you know what? Like, I accessed a few books that I wouldn't have been able to access any other way. I think there were like 4 new releases within the space of a week that were all on Kindle Unlimited, and just, it made sense at the time. So I'm not surprised that I made the most of it. I'm glad that I made the most of it whilst I had it, and I'm glad that I did cancel it after that time. So I guess overall I'm happy, but I want to read the books I already own. Like, after I've read my TBR and got my TBR down to a nice number, which I don't know what that number is yet, but once I've done that, I'm happy to read however. But right now I really want to prioritise like reading the books on my TBR before I stop liking them, before my reading taste change, before anything like that. So yeah. And then there were some books that I borrowed, a book that I got through an ARC, a book that I listened to on Spotify, a couple of books from Everand, a book that I read on my Kindle that I just like owned on my Kindle, and a few books from the library as well, which feels pretty good. Then we've got representation and author information left. So let me have a look at this. In terms of representation, LGBTQA plus representation was present in 21 of the books, which was less than 50%, which is surprising. I think Q1 it was over 50%, and that felt a lot better. Again, it's one of those, I'm not doing anything to make sure that I'm reading stuff right now because I just want to get through my TBR. But I do think the more books that I'm buying now are like just better for that, because there is more representation in books that have been published the last 2, 3, 4 years, and there are books that are like 10, 15 years old. So yeah. And then disability rep was present in 7 books, so even less. Like, I don't know exactly what that is, but that looks like less than a 6th to me on this pie chart. So really not ideal, like not ideal at all. I don't know, it's one of those that once my TBR is down to a good number, I think that these will become priorities to make sure that I am reading books that have representation of everyone, everyone's lived experiences. Right now they're interesting for me to look at, but they do also make me feel bad when I look at them. I don't know, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because own TBR, reading like newer books, like it just, they can't both go together. And then, was the author a BIPOC author? This is, I think, almost exactly a quarter yes. Again, would prefer this to be more, but this quarter just hasn't worked out that way. And to be honest, like, again, this isn't something, because I'm trying to get through my TBR, that I've even been like really looking at or thinking about. Like the same with the like LGBTQA plus representation, disability representation, like authors isn't something that I've been paying the most attention to, because what's already on my TBR is on my TBR. But again, when I'm buying books, this is something I need to be paying more attention to be making sure that I'm reading from like a large variety of human experiences. Who's the book written by? Mainly women. It's always mainly women, to be honest, but I mean, that's what I like. And I do like to make sure that I'm reading from lots of like different people. So there's quite a few books that are about multiple authors. We've got a gender fluid / gender queer author, and we've got a few men as well. I don't know, like, I'm not mad at this. Would I prefer it to be a bit more evenly spread? Yeah, but I have overall enjoyed the books that I've read this month, so I am struggling to figure out how much I'd want to have changed it. Then I will also quickly throw up the nationality of authors. Again, this isn't something I pay attention to until afterwards when I'm filling out my spreadsheet. I am tracking this, and I do want to, because I think one of the years I would like to set myself some sort of read around the world challenge. Don't know exactly what that would be yet, but I think having the data from how many places around the world I read from when I'm not actively trying to will give me a good goal to set whatever year I decide to do that. So yeah, I think this is interesting to look at. It is very heavy on American and British authors, and then a lot of New Zealand as well, but that is all one author. That is all Nalini Singh. And then there's also quite a big chunk of the chart this time that is just not available. I'm not sure exactly what authors that came from, but I don't go searching. Like, any of this information, I don't go searching for. If it's in the author's Goodreads bio, the author's Instagram, or on the author's website, I use it. If not, it goes down as not available. Yeah, and I think that's it for the main stats, like at least for the reading stats, that's it. I do also like to have a little look at my books purchase statistics, just because I think that's quite fun to do. So in terms of books purchased, I don't actually have a complete number for this. Okay, so now that I've done the calculation of what this bar chart represents, I've purchased 31 books in Q2. It's a bit more than I'd like, to be honest. I think when I looked at my book purchasing at the start of the year, I was hoping to buy 6 or less books per month, which for 3 months would be 18. So 31, it's not quite double that, but it's not too far off. So yeah, purchased a little bit more than I would like to, and that equates to 18 in April, 10 in May, and 3 in June. So like June was a decent month for book buying. Like, that was definitely less, but yeah, it ebbs and flows, and I'm not mad at it. I'm trying not to buy too much, but I'm also allowing myself to get books, especially books that I've already read and loved and enjoyed, and like I've read them because I've borrowed them from the library, or I've got them on like an audiobook app or something like that. If I read the first book in a series and I've loved it, then I will allow myself to buy that one, and when future books come out in series, I can then purchase them because I already know I'm going to like them, or at least hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to like them. Out of the books that I purchased, most of them were used, 18 used and 13 new. This isn't too surprising. I do enjoy buying secondhand. I will purchase books new rarely, to be honest. I will do pre-orders of new books, and I occasionally will go to like a bookshop, like an actual bookshop, and get books there. But I do love a good charity shop, and I do love my secondhand website, so a lot of them are used. And then the interesting statistic here, which hopefully you'll agree because I am trying to keep track of this, is have I read them? So of all of the books that I purchased in Q2, I've already read 14 of them. So 14 are read. I haven't split this down into if I read them before purchasing or if I've read them since, which I might do in the future, but not this year. This is the first year that it's really become a thing where it probably is quite 50-50 as to whether I've read them since or not. But yeah, obviously I would like this to be higher, but I am glad that I'm at least getting through them. By the end of the year, I would like to think I've read like 90% of the books that I've purchased, and I guess I'll be able to see that in the Q4 statistics, but for now this is how it looks. And that is it. Those are all of my statistics. I do really hope that you've enjoyed the video. If you are a statsy person, I hope that you've stayed around and enjoyed it. Let me know any interesting stats that you've been tracking to do with your reading, or let me know if there's anything that like you track that I haven't mentioned here and you think that I should track because it's interesting to look at. Do let me know. I'm always up for tracking more. But yeah, that is it from me today. Do give the video a like if you liked it, subscribe down below if you'd like more content like this, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!